There's about 80 people that are currently I am seeing alone who are in the low income bracket. We're talking about like a family of 4, right? Per capita income is not more than 1,008, and it's our job as social workers to actually help them, and give them the necessary support and financial assistance.
Right to Serve has actually brought two things together: our passion for cycling, and then we wanted to do something for the society. So we brought them together and came up with Cycling for Charity.
Welcome to another episode of Yana TV, where we have authentic conversations with impactful and conscious people of Asia. And I'm sure many of us have watched a movie, Crazy Rich Asians, that became a big hit around the world a few years ago. And there is this big assumption that Asia is a lot about lavish, luxurious lifestyle, particularly Singapore, with the number of millionaires and multimillionaires who are coming here, especially since COVID. There's a big conversation. Is it a really city for rich people only? And is there a population of those who are under the poverty line? And if there is, how big it is and how real their lives are? And today with me in the studio, we have Dhiren and Paul, and we're going to talk exactly about this. So Dhiren, I find that you are a great person to ask, are there poor people in Singapore?
There is. So what you saw in Crazy Rich Asian, that's just a facade, I would say. But there is, because I am a social worker. I've been practicing social work for 14 years now. And recently, 2 years ago, I joined Sikh Welfare Council. And I've been helping a lot of these low-income families. There's about 80 people that are currently I am seeing alone for these clients who are in the low-income bracket. And it's our job as social workers to actually help them, and give them the necessary support and financial assistance so that we can uplift them.
Let's define low incomes.
First of all, we're talking about like a family, right? For example, a family of 4. Right, per capita income is not more than 1,008, for example, right?
So family of 4 has to live in Singapore on 1,008. I mean, those who live in Singapore know that it would be very difficult. Many foreigners don't understand the prices in Singapore.
Exactly. You have to factor in the expenses that they have to pay on a monthly basis, like the utility bills, their communication bills, their transport bills, and food alone and grocery alone. By the time you expend all these, you may have nothing left really. When they do come to us, right, they might tell us, yes, one member of the family is working, the other maybe is a homemaker, and then they have 2 young children who's going to school. So we do the assessment, we do the assessment and find out, where are they, lacking in which area. So sometimes maybe their children also may need tuition, education support. That's something that we do help as well. So we will help to finance this part for them, so that, alleviate some financial burden on the caregiver. So also when we understand that the main breadwinner is not earning much also, so we do some kind of monthly, we do kind of expenditure, a monthly expenditure to see how much they are expending every month, and then if there's a surplus or if there's a deficit, so we try to cushion those expenses. So that's why we come in and we provide supplementary financial support for them.
So why do you think that there are so many people, especially maybe those who actually don't live in Singapore, have this assumption that Singapore doesn't have poor people?
I think this is something to do with the media.
Okay. Oops.
Yes, I know. I think this is to publicize people, to attract foreign investors, or to attract the rich people to come to Singapore and retire or some sort like that. But they like I said, they are not on the ground, so they don't see what we do or what we see. But the truth of the matter is there is a poverty cycle in Singapore as well.
It's also very interesting, because in pretty much probably any other country, every country would have people who need help. I mean, that's undeniable. But in most of other countries, you will also have a very high crime rate, which we don't have in Singapore. So it's a very interesting one. So even though people might be not very well financially, they're not lashing out that much trying to go and take it from Crazy Rich Asians.
True. I think we have the foundation going on in Singapore already. Like if anyone who is low income, right, I think everyone knows where to direct them. This is something that is very done well by our Singapore government. All over in Singapore, you can find the social service officers. So if there's someone who's low income, they are given this opportunity to get financial assistance first and foremost. But sometimes even with that, there's not much. Some people say it's not enough. So that's why they come to agencies like us, social service agencies like us. So we give them a bit more supplementary assistance. Yeah. Now, of course, Singapore law is quite tough. If you do commit...
I know. I mean, who wants to break the law in Singapore, right? No one. So, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. What is your connection with Paul?
Yes,
Why are you here, guys?
Paul is a very valuable asset to Sikh Welfare Council. We run on charity dollars, so we need funding. And Paul is very vital, as I mentioned, because he comes from the Right to Serve company, right? And they are our partner. They are actually helping us raise funds through cycling.
Right to Serve has come about in about 2018-19. Before that, we were called Right for Charity. And we actually brought two things together. Our passion was cycling, and then we wanted to do something for the society. So we brought them together and came up with Cycling for Charity.
I like that. It's sport, which is good for your health.
Yes,
to say very selfish,
exactly.
you do it for yourself. And socializing, because you build also community and you do it with other people.
Exactly.
And you help less fortunate.
That's what I always tell my friends. I keep my doctor's bill low because I'm always healthy, and I'm doing something that I like, which is charity work. So that kind of makes a lot of sense. And most of our riders are passionate both about cycling and also for charity.
What kind of demographic are we talking? Riders, like approximately age, gender, like type of people that you attract?
You'll be surprised that majority of our cyclists are middle-aged to about on the older side. Our oldest cyclist is 76 years old.
Wow.
And he has ridden with us all the way from Port Dickson to Singapore, which is approximately about 370 kilometers.
I'm not sure I can do that. And I'm in early 40s, so.
And I think the beautiful part about Right to Serve is we are not speed cyclists. We do have people who like to cycle fast, but we also have the majority who are casual cyclists, we will say. So we go out every once a week, twice a week, and we put in like 4 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, getting good exercise.
I love here that first of all, it's never too late to actually start cycling and do sport. And it's also great community feeling. Because then you meet like-minded people, so you probably meet people who have already achieved something professionally, they have that stage in life and they want to go back and they want to give back. So you attract like-minded crowd, you build friendships.
Oh, yes. I mean, there's quite a few number of cyclists who we just met when we are cycling, and they have joined our group and said, wow, okay, this is something that resonates with us, and we want to join them. So, and our favorite place is Changi Village, where the food is pretty good.
Yes.
And from there, they just joined us again, and it's fantastic.
How big is the organization?
We have currently about 200 people on our social media page, but active cyclists we have about close to about 80 to 100.
Okay. And I spoke to other people on your team, and I know you're the boss. So when you have a group of people, let's say 50, 80, 100, 200 that you have to manage, and then you probably need to have like a smaller team that actually manages it. And we talk about volunteers here.
Oh, yes.
And they don't get paid. No. Often they actually put their own money. So they get to serve and to give their own money and their time, just like that. Why do you think it works for Right to Serve, that you keep attracting people and they actually keep stepping up? So in terms of leadership, why is it working?
I think one of the important factors is the passion we have for cycling, and it is developed over time, and we've seen the benefits of it. And the second is to give back to society. Like what you said, we are all at the age where we are all quite well established, and we want to see how we can help. And obviously a lot of my cyclists have told me, you sure in Singapore there are people that require help?
Right, that's why we're having this conversation, because many don't know it.
So, but these are the people that you get them in the cracks of society, and they need people, they need organizations like Siwec to come step forward to help them. And what better way for us to be the agent for Siwec to get the funds to help them.
I love that. Like from any organization, any association, any society who kind of wants to just inspire the most out of the people. Like two very important things you said is passion and purpose. So you want to make sure that people are actually passionate about what they do, because money is not enough these days. I mean, it's not only for millennials and Generation Z, even for boomers. So money is not enough. People want to have meaning. They want to have legacy. They want to know that their job somehow, what they do somehow makes someone else's life better and more meaningful. And I find it's important now for every organization to include this.
Definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to go back home feeling good about yourself. We have ration distribution every month for families that are living below the poverty line. And I welcome all my cyclists to at least once or twice go and volunteer themselves. And they come back and they say they can't believe that there was a family that stays in a one-room flat. And there are a total of 17 of them staying with kids and all that stuff. It kind of really moves the people when they realize that this is the situation. But then they are happy because they are doing something. So that kind of puts into perspective their job as cyclists to raise funds for a meaningful cause.
Exactly. And you know, I think it's interesting how just human beings, how our mind works. I always find that's why charity fundraising always works so well, because people somehow feel more comfortable to ask for money on behalf of someone else than for themselves, right? If you would do, oh, give me money, people would be like, wait a moment. So, but if you're actually supporting someone else, also there's much more enthusiasm. So it's interesting how this our psychology works. And with this conversation, I kind of find, especially professional people who have jobs and good pay, most of them probably often would be senior. It's also a time where in life, I find, where people want to have even more meaning and more relevance to the society. And especially if the paycheck is very high, then sometimes it comes with the guilt that, you know, I'm drawing so much salary or so much bonuses, and there is this group of people who have nothing to eat. So how do we sort of justify this? How do we balance it out? And I mean, you balance it by donations of the money, by volunteering your time, your skills, your expertise. And like what you said, I love the example of your organization, because then you also get to help your own health. And it's something very physical. So it's a great combination. Dhiren, all those years that you have been working as a social worker, what story, family that really deeply touched you and why?
Because I've done many years of social work, so I think some of them I may have forgotten already, but I'll take something that's more recent. Yeah, so I'm actually helping a family with 4 children, in fact, right? And the mom herself is the main breadwinner of the family, and 2 of her children is actually disabled. Yeah, so they have intellectual disability, and then she have an elder son who's actually not working at all. I'm actually helping the elder son, you know, like trying to find a job and all this. So I'm spending more time with him because he actually feel a bit depressed because of his 2 brothers' condition and whatnot. And his mom thinks he's useless in that sense. So his mom is like, he's not working because he's obese and whatnot. So my job now is to actually, change his life, give him some confidence in a sense, you know. So I'm actually like bring him out, you know, for job interviews. I don't find it that challenging, but I find it very fruitful because I'm actually trying to help one member of his family that is going to actually help the rest of the family members. You know, because if he starts working, right, he's going to help his mom, and then he can subsequently help his 2 brothers as well. So yeah, so it is something that I'm doing now, and I'm actually very happy because I see some progress now.
That's such an important topic, actually, and I have seen it many times also in other families. Especially when you have several children, and it happened that one or several have difficulties or disabled in any way, then actually the child who considered to be healthy, you know, often the one who suffers a lot psychologically. So it might not be physical disability, but it becomes almost like a mental, emotional unwellness, right? So they suffer in a very different way because maybe they feel neglected, or they feel sorry, or they feel guilty, or they feel that somehow attention is somewhere else. And the story that you shared, I also find it's like a very important just reality check for all of us when we look around and when we think, who do we actually want to help? And the reality is everyone needs help one way or another, right? Even if you look at the lives of very rich people from the crazy rich Asians we saw even in the movie, there are a lot of therapy bills going in the families. So it's pain of a different kind, maybe not absence of food, but maybe absence of love or time from parents or something else, or distance in the relationship. So there's always something going on, which kind of reminds me once again that how it is important to be just kind to any human being you meet, because we never know what they're going actually through. So thank you for sharing the story.
Welcome.
Right to serve. What are the biggest challenge right now you feel you're facing in the organization?
Okay, one obviously attracting new riders, especially during the COVID period. A lot of people picked up cyclings. And there's so many cycling groups out there.
So cyclist group out there who are listening and watching to this, if you're just recreationally cycling through Singapore, there's a way how you can do it also for the course.
Yes, and we make it much more exciting because we don't cycle in Singapore. Once a year, when we do the actual charity, we cycle in Malaysia. And this year, we are cycling all the way from Ipoh to Singapore. That's about 650 kilometers over 6 days. And very different and challenging terrain. And I think once someone has heard about us or joined us, tend to want to stick with us because of the cause that we are supporting, and also because of the dynamics of the group. We've got older people, people of different. We welcome everyone. And if even you don't cycle and you want to pick up cycling, please come join us. I can't assure you that by February you'll be ready for the ride, but come as a support crew. We'll definitely need more support crew for the ride also. I think that is the challenge that we typically normally has, getting more people. But the other one is also funds.
Of course, like any organization or any kind of social organization, there's always room for more funds and more donations. Yes.
See, like not only we support Siwec, we also do like our independent charity works, like for example the ration distribution. We work with Sunlove. We are managing one of the centers for Sunlove with funds that we raise. We also do every month breakfast at the Bukit Batok Old Age Home. Give something to the old and the destitute, something different instead of the normal porridge they have for breakfast. We have get some local favorites like roti prata or something like that to the locals.
I love that. Thank you for the work you're doing.
No problem. Thank you.
The final question. So, Paul, you're giving so much over so many years to this organization and all these people. What are you receiving? What's in it for you?
Well, I think the contentment and the feel that I get after doing it, I think that's plenty. I like to think so that I do make a difference in somebody's life.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad.
Dhiren, the same question?
I think like what Paul said, it's definitely a meaningful job because it's not something that, you just sit behind a desk and, and you do typing on stuff or whatnot. You're actually going out to interact with people and, you're actually, their problems actually become yours, so to speak, So you're showing some empathy and some sympathy as well. So this actually helps to, translate into like, genuinely helping them, So it's also something intrinsic with me. It's something that I like to help people with. So I get the best out of both worlds. This is like every day I go to work, I don't feel I'm going to work. It's like actually it's my dream job, so to speak.
Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
joining
Thank
here
you for
today.
helping us. Thank you for helping us.
That was Paul and Dhiren on Yana TV, and we talk a lot about the social works and charity and people below the poverty line in Singapore. Yes, there are quite a few. And it's important we remember that we can help, and we do when we can. And I'm going to see you next time on this episode with another guest. Now I'm excited. I feel like I should get the bike, which I always wanted to. Okay.